Musical artist Gwen Stefani is getting some backlash over what some believe is a controversial comment she made about her relationship with Japanese culture during an interview with Allure magazine. Now, first, it's important to understand a little bit of her background. In 2008, Stefani, who is of Italian and Irish descent, launched a fragrance line called Harajuku Lovers 4 years after the release of her album Love Angel Music Baby, which used inspiration from Japan's Harajuku subculture. And if you are a millennial, it's very likely you are familiar with this line that she came out with. I remember having friends who loved it, were obsessed with it. Now the fragrance collection included 5 scents, and each was housed in a bottle shaped like a doll, caricatured to look like Stefani and her 4 Harajuku girls, the Japanese and Japanese American backup dancers she employed and named Love, Angel, Music, and Baby for the promotion of her album. So just to give you a sense of what it looked like, this is what her bottles for her fragrance line looked like when they came out back in 2008. Now, when she was asked during the interview how she's reflected on her fragrance line and the backlash she received, she shared a story about her, father's time at Yamaha, which had him traveling between their home in California and Japan for 18 years straight. So she spent a lot of time with her father in Japan. She says, that was my Japanese influence and that was my culture that was so rich with tradition, yet so futuristic with so much attention to art and detail and discipline. And it was fascinating to me. So she explained how her dad would come home and tell her about the street performers and the stylish women with colorful hair. Then as an adult, she was able to travel to Harajuku to see them for herself, which brings us to what's being referred to as the most controversial comment she made in the interview. She said, quote, "I said, my God, I'm Japanese and I didn't know it." So Cenk, I'm gonna go to you now because this is being described as cultural appropriation, like she's the new Rachel Dolezal or something, and I don't agree with that, but I wanna know what you think.
Yeah, okay, well, I was curious what you thought, and you just hinted at it. As it turns out, we agree. So before I read the article, it got presented as, or it looked like, and honestly, this article clearly paints it as she's pretending to actually be Japanese. But no, if you read the quotes, she didn't say that. She was clearly referring to how she feels a cultural affinity to Japan. And so she never said she's genetically or biologically Japanese, nor did she hint at that. I think the reporter took this as an opportunity to go, aha, she said it twice, so I'm gonna pretend that it's something that it isn't. And so, look, is there cultural appropriation? Yeah, of course there is. So back in the day, for example, and not that it doesn't happen today, but back in the day it happened a lot, as a matter of course. For example, white singers would take black singers' songs, not give them credit or money, and have those songs become incredibly popular, and then claim credit for them. So that's cultural appropriation. And it was clearly coming from the blues and soul and so many other parts of African-American music that never got the credit for it. So that's, in a sense, stealing. And by the way, you could do cultural appropriation where you put down the other culture. You make their culture look bad, right? But Gwen Stefani did neither one of those things. She very clearly said that she was influenced by Japanese culture. She named things after Japanese culture. She credited Japanese culture, and she feels an affinity to it because of her upbringing, and she explained the context of that. That ain't cultural appropriation. That's actually giving an ode to that culture, complimenting that culture. If you can't see that difference, you're trying not to see it. You're trying to create a controversy where none exists.
So Jessie Marie Kaler is the Filipino-American author who did the interview, wrote the piece. Just to read an excerpt from it. As those words seemed to hang in the air between us, she continued, quote, "I am, you know." She then explained that there is innocence to her relationship with Japanese culture, referring to herself as a super fan. So the super fan part is relevant, I would argue, because look, she is not presenting herself as someone of Japanese descent. She's presenting herself as who she is. She's a white woman, right? A successful musical artist who clearly has a connection and loving relationship with Japanese culture. So where's the problem? What I want to understand is why there seems to be this weird obsession of segregating our cultures to the point where we're not allowed to appreciate and enjoy one another. That's supposed to be what makes this country great. So the idea that you're a bad person because you like to wear clothing or celebrate the culture of individuals who are from a different background, I think is insane. I just don't get it. The other thing is, yeah, go ahead, Cenk.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, Anna, if she took Turkish music and said it's Turkish music and I love Turkish music and Turkish culture, and she made it more popular in America, how would that be a bad thing for Turks? I always use my own ethnic background, so I hope that gives you a sense that I'm not biased about it. Like, why would I be mad about that? If she didn't give credit to the Turkish artist, that would be a different thing. If she pretended that it wasn't Turkish at all, that would be a different thing. For example, the classic like cultural appropriation on steroids was when Tucker Carlson said the taco's not Mexican, it's American.
Yeah, that was insane. That was insane.
That's cultural appropriation. No, it's not. It didn't originate in America. Obviously, it originated in Mexico. See, but Stefani is doing the exact opposite. You can't say to someone complimenting you, "Oh my God, you're stealing from me by complimenting me." Nah, that's just ridiculous, over the top ridiculous.
So she made similar comments back in 2001, by the way, when she was asked about her perspective on the Japanese backup dancers. She called her Harajuku girls. First, I want to read graphic 6. This is not from 2021. This is her comment for Allur's interview. She says, if people are gonna criticize me for being a fan of something beautiful and sharing that, then I just think that doesn't feel right. I think it was a beautiful time of creativity, a time of ping pong match between Harajuku culture and American culture. It should be okay to be inspired by other cultures, because if we're not allowed, then that's dividing people, right? And I would say, yes, that is dividing people. Now let's go to her 2021 comment. If we didn't buy and sell and trade our cultures in, we wouldn't have so much beauty, you know? We learn from each other, we share from each other, we grow from each other. And all these rules are just dividing us more and more. I agree with her on that. So I'll give you a quick example. I mean, so do we need to boycott every restaurant that, let's say it's an Italian restaurant and the chef isn't Italian? Is that a big no-no? Are they appropriating Italian culture and profiting off of it? And is that wrong? My favorite sushi restaurant has sushi chefs who are not Japanese. In fact, in LA, a lot of them are actually Korean and a lot of them are Latino. So do we go after them for that? Is that appropriating culture? It's just, you guys, stop trying to create enemies where they don't exist. I don't understand the obsession. I get the obsession when it comes to the writers, right? They want splashy headlines, they want attention. This is how they make a name for themselves, by tearing down people as super evil and questionable when they haven't done anything wrong. But I don't get it. Why are we turning people who want to celebrate a culture other than theirs as bad people? And Dr. Fariha Khan, who's a co-director of Asian American Studies at the University of Pennsylvania, spoke to Allure about the difference between cultural inspiration and appropriation. She says, simply put, cultural appropriation is the use of one group's customs, material culture, or oral traditions by another group. And then she raises two important factors to consider: commodification and an unequal power relationship.
No, okay. I don't agree with her.
I don't agree with that either. No, I don't agree with that at all, period. I just don't.
No, that's 100% wrong. So I don't care that you're a professor and so you're privileging your position as if it's a fact. Look, physics has facts. Political correctness has judgment calls, okay? Or politics overall has judgment calls. You don't get to say my judgment call should be the objective standard. Using another culture's oral traditions, well, are you misusing them? Or are you using them respectfully, you're telling me that doesn't make a difference? No. I don't accept things that are completely and utterly irrational. So guys, look, last thing on this. You see us on the show calling out Republicans and Democrats. You see we're not at all partisan. And when Democrats do something wrong, we level them, right? And that's why the establishment hates us. But we say we're proudly progressive. And so we're on the left. And we don't hide the ball on that. We're honest with you guys. But can the left also do some things that are wrong? Of course. And yes, our primary job is to tell you the truth. So we have to tell you, yes, this is mainly a left thing. This is not a right thing. And the left, I think, the small minority of the left that does this is I don't agree with them. I think that they are hurting our cause. So they're making us look ridiculous with these, oh, you're not going around complimenting my culture. I'm gonna get mad about it anyway. Preposterous. It's like they're trying to find a way to get offended so they can get some sort of credit for being offended. No, it doesn't make sense, and I'll never agree to it. By the way, wherever you are on the political spectrum, if you want to compliment Turks, have at it, Oz. I allow it, and I don't care if anybody else complains about it.